Hi folks, welcome into the channel. Juan here from Physical Media EU. Today I want to show you the latest release of the Northman. Hello again and thanks for tuning in for another review. As I said, today we're gonna take a look at this collector's edition from the Northman. But before we start, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you're interested in physical media, mostly Blu-ray reviews and also sometimes soundtracks on vinyl. Besides, you can also find me on Instagram where I post little pictures of all the items that I review. The handle is the same as this channel, Physical Media EU. Now with that said, we can begin with the presentation of the Northman, which in my case is an upgrade from this HMV exclusive release from a couple of years ago. This one actually was not too bad. It had the like a set of art cards and also this standard presentation. The Northman is a movie that I liked a lot. Also, of course, the director Robert Eggers. So I didn't want to have just like a normal standard release. Luckily, I could find this version on eBay that is not all that special, but it includes the art cards and this full slip cover, which I think looks very nice. So it was, I think, the best one I could get until now, because now this release just came out, which is also full slip, but as you can see here, it includes a steelbook and a booklet and also a poster. So it's a great improvement, I think, over the previous release, although the content of the disc are the same. So in this review, I'll show you this release, but I'm not gonna go too much in detail over the picture quality and those things, because those things you can find on the previous review for this one. So check the link here in the corner if you're interested in more details. So now, yes, let's take a look at this one. Here we have the cover. Again, the cover has these stickers here, you know, for like the age restrictions. These are unfortunately like it's like a stick in the slip cover. They can be removed. I haven't done it yet, but I'll probably do it soon because this is a very nice cover, and of course I don't want those badges there. So here you can see this part of the cover has like matte finish, but here the main character, you can see, has like this sectorized shine that looks very good. Again, here in the back you can see details of the release, and here is the spine. Now these details is just like a paper. It's put there. Haven't taken it out yet, but let's do that now. So here is the back, which I'm seeing for first time. Looks quite good as well. So overall, this is a very nice full slip that I think looks awesome on the shelf. Now let's explore the contents of the release. Here we find the art cards, which have this background. We'll see them all together now in a second. The poster, a booklet, and also the steelbook, which also looks very nice. But I will leave the steelbook for the end of the review. So let's begin by taking a look at the poster. So it's a double-sided poster. Here we have this version, and then there's this other one you can see here. The print quality of the poster is very good. You can see maybe there more in detail the quality of the picture. And I think this is only like the second time I expand this poster, but you can see, especially on this side, so I'll put this very close, that in the edges here where the fold is, that it looks like a little white. I think there you can see it somewhat good here. That's not that great. Like, I think if you were to hang this poster, even if you frame it and everything, those things will still be visible. So of course I appreciate they included the poster, but maybe the choice of the paper maybe was not the best. And maybe one last thing to mention about it is that if you compare the size of the poster versus the size of like the available space they have inside the case, it feels to me like this has one fold too many. Maybe it could have been folded like 2 times instead of 3, kind of trying to minimize the damage, and then the final size would still be very similar to the size they have in this one. But anyway, I find nice that these posters are included in the releases, but like, because they have been folded so many times, it's very hard so you can hang it on your wall and not having all this visible folds, right? It is a complicated process. I haven't done it myself. I did a little bit of research on how could you do it, and you have like to wet the paper, which to me that sounds very scary and like very prone to error. So I'm not gonna try ever to do it, but it would be very nice. I think that maybe companies like Arrow, for example, that they include posters in almost all of these nicer releases, that there was like a tutorial of like, okay, how can you get the best out of the poster, because if not, they just like always stay inside of the cases. But anyway, a little bit of a rant there towards the posters. So let's move on and check out the postcards. All of them have this background, so this is a matte finish here on all of these, but of course this is the front, and here is shiny. This one looks awesome with Bjork here. We have many other characters, right, in these cards. Oops. So yeah, they look very good. I think it's also like a very good printing quality for these ones. Now, in case you want to know, the cards included in this release are actually different than the ones you just saw. For example, the other ones were all stills from the film. For example, here you can see one also is the same size, very shiny, very good printing quality as well. But in this case, they were not character cards, but stills from the movie. Okay, so now we can check out the booklet here, front and back. This is a 36 pages booklet, and in this case, it's a very nice booklet with a lot of content, not just stills from the movie, like many times it happens with these bigger studios releases, right? That maybe they have booklets, but they are all just photos, and it's not that it's a boring approach, but I find it a little cold, right? Like there's like no one involved from the production of the movie in the content of these booklets. They just print photos from a bank of photos they have from the movie, and that's it. I found that a little like lazy and just like trying to get money out of the movie. So I really appreciate when they actually put some content into the booklet, like other, like for example, boutique labels do, right? So let's take a look at the contents of this one. There is a statement from the director. Here's Robert Eggers. Then synopsis and about the production. This is a movie that was heavily affected by the 2020 pandemic. So there are some stories about it, also about like how they had to change some location decisions based on like where the lockdowns were and so on. Then Robert Eggers, is a director that with great attention to detail, and here you can read a lot of stories of how much detail it was put into everything related into this movie. Here, this one is how Alexander Skarsgård has been wanting to portray a Viking like for almost all his acting life. So he was like preparing for the role, but he didn't know like in what movie he will be able to play it. And then finally he met with Robert Eggers, right? And they could develop the movie. Then this one is also very interesting because in part of what they comment here is the museums and the experts they have worked with to develop costumes and weapons and like and fighting techniques and stuff like that. And one thing they mentioned that I found very interesting is that they borrow some things from the Danish museum in Roskilde, the Viking museum. So for me, being in Denmark, that was a nice fun fact. And then lastly, there is a part about scoring. The Northman, also a lot of research regarding the kind of instruments. And the one of the problems they had was that at the time that the Northman takes place, there was not too much documentation about it. So they had to rely on in some other sources to develop the kind of music they wanted. So the Northman has a very interesting score developed by Robin Carolan and Sebastian Gainsborough. And this is a very beautiful release, color vinyl and custom record sleeves. So this deserves its own review, so I'm not going to show much more for now. I will make a more detailed review some other time. Lastly, we find the steelbook, which you can see has like an embossed frame here, kind of, and there you can see the front. I apologize, of course, by the ring reflection. That's I will post pictures on Instagram so you can see it in more detail there. And then if we open this up, here we find the two discs. This is the 4K, and this one up here is the Blu-ray. And here is with all the characters without the discs. So a very nice steelbook. And this is not the first steelbook the Northman has. There was another one that had this cover, just like the booklet. But since steelbooks are normally not my first go-to kind of release, I prefer back then to get this version instead, which was a little bit more difficult to get, but I thought it looked very nice. Now, when I heard that this release was coming out, which by the way you can get the standalone steelbook also, I was very interested in this collector's edition, which include the booklet and the poster and the art cards and the full slipcover. Because as I said at the beginning, it's a movie that I really like. I really like this director, and I wanted to have a fancy edition of the movie. So even though this release was coming from a big studio, I think it's a very nice release. Everything is top quality, just like the movie. And even though this was a UK exclusive release, it was available on some other websites. I tried to order it first on FNAC, the French website. When the release date came out, they didn't ship it, so I reached out to them and asked what happened, and they say that they got less copies of the movie than they were originally promised. So at that time they couldn't champion the order. I think this is very bad, and it's not the first time it happens with FNAC. So I'm quite disappointed with them. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep ordering from them. Eventually I ended up getting this copy from eBay from virtually the same price of the release, I think. So I got quite lucky there. And another thing to mention is that this is a limited release. You can see here only 2,000 copies. So better not to wait much if you are interested in getting this one. And that's all for the review. I hope you liked it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. Would love to hear in the comments if you have watched this movie and if you like Robert Eggers, and also if you plan to get any of these releases. Remember to check out the photos on Instagram if you're interested. Also, same handle, Physical Media EU, and you're welcome to follow there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all at Okie Dogs.